Hi, I'm Tristan. This is Thinking About Politics, and today we're still thinking about state ballot initiatives, and we're going north to Alaska. Ballot Measure 2 promises a number of potential reforms, including ranked choice voting, an open primary system, and limiting dark money in politics. With the potential for so much change, well, that's got us thinking. So Alaska is our second youngest state, and before we really talk about anything important here, I think we've got to address the elephant in the room here. Alaska. This flag kicks so much butt. I mean, wow. I'm not particularly a flag guy. The stars and stripes are nice. Canada's got a very cute thing going on with the leaf. But Alaska, way to knock it out of the park, guys. Well done. We're not going to make it to every state during this series, and we're certainly not ranking all of the state flags, but Alaska's up to an early lead. In Alaska, ranked choice voting is on the ballot as part of Ballot Measure 2. But to say this ballot measure is just about ranked choice voting would be selling it short. In fact, its ambitious aim is not only to limit the power of wealth in our elections and to limit dark money, but to restore confidence in the very notion of self-government itself. Section 1 of the initiative states, "The people of Alaska hold that political power and influence should not be based on wealth. Instead, reasonable limits on the role of money in elections are necessary." And then it goes on to outline its three primary intended reforms. 1. Provide Alaskans with the right to know the true source of any political donation, including the quantity, timing, and nature of resources involved, and to make sure they can be notified of this in a timely manner. 2. Create a nonpartisan open primary with the aim of fostering cooperation and nonpartisanship. 3. Establish a general election using ranked choice voting to decide between the top 4 vote getters in the open primary. And to achieve these three aims, took a ballot question that's 26 pages long. Yeah! See, Title 15 of the Alaska Statutes regulates elections. And for 26 pages, this ballot question goes around and closes loopholes for dark money, creates a new open primary system, and creates a ranked choice system in the general election. Of course, some might criticize the length of this kind of a measure. Are citizens really equipped to analyze a 26-page piece of legislation? Why would they make it so complicated? Well, guys, let me tell you all a story about North Dakota Measure 3. Once upon a time, there was a ballot measure called Measure 3. No, that's dumb. North Dakota's Measure 3 was much like Alaska's Ballot Measure 2. It would have established ranked choice voting, an open primary, and a number of other well-intentioned reforms. Unlike Ballot Measure 2, North Dakota's Measure 3 did not outline all the changes that would be necessary in the state's legal code to effect these changes. Therefore, according to a recent decision by the North Dakota Supreme Court, the ballot measure's proponents had violated state law. Despite getting over 30,000 signatures, the Supreme Court struck the ballot question from this year's ballot. The court struck Measure 3 from this year's ballot in North Dakota. Whatever criticisms you might have for Ballot Measure 2 being 26 pages long, it's important to know what the alternative might have been. I'm not sure if Alaska has a similar state law as North Dakota, but transparency is always a good thing. Ballot Measure 2 has been brought forward by a group calling itself Alaskans for Better Elections. According to Ballotopedia, the campaign has raised over $1.2 million, the bulk of which has come from 2 outside organizations, one called Unite America, which donated just under $1 million, and the other, the Action Now Initiative, which donated about $100,000. United America seems to be a general do-gooder nonprofit. They have a lot of links on their websites with disclosures to the FEC, that's the Federal Elections Commission, so you can look up who their donors are. They say quite clearly that ranked choice voting is one of their issue areas, and they clearly disclose their role in funding the Alaskans for Better Elections initiative. And it's worth reiterating that Unite America discloses this information voluntarily. Now, the Act Now initiative, near as I can tell, is a billionaire couple. Looks like a former Enron employee and his wife. Neat. Leading the campaign are a coalition of Democrats, Republicans, and independents from Alaska. Opponents of this measure include the state Republican Party, former Democratic leaders, and also individual GOP leaders as well. Some would probably think that such universal condemnation by party leaders is maybe a selling point for this ballot measure. So what is it that they want to do exactly? 1. Open primary. Instead of having different ballots for different parties, you put all candidates running for a state office on one ballot. Look at these candidates here. In normal circumstances, you might get one ballot. If you're a Democrat, you can pick between these candidates. If you're a Republican, you can pick between these candidates. Some of these candidates might be on a ballot, or they might be independents running on their own. On an open ballot, they would all be on one ballot. Or maybe the Democrats and Republicans would nominate one person to run for the office. Either way, the top 4 vote getters are going to go head to head to head to head in a 4-way race in the general election. Which brings us to our second reform here. Ranked choice voting in a Final Four contest. In the open primary, you take the 4 most vote-gettingest candidates and have them go head to head to head to head for the general election, rather than have a 4-way race with a winner-take-all system and maybe elect a Cyclops troll. Check out our last video. The 4-way race will be conducted with a ranked choice ballot to ensure that there is a majority choice candidate. Third, and definitely not least, this bill would require campaigns to disclose the true source of donations. Both donors and recipients are required to disclose contributions greater than $2,000 within 24 hours. And any group receiving more than 50% of its funding from outside Alaska must disclose so on its materials. Of course, one of the biggest arguments against this is, why are we doing this again? Like, this seems like a lot of work. Haven't you ever heard of if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Yeah, and that's it. To a lot of folks, it's broken. Like, this isn't necessarily the time or place to get into it all right now, you know? Now, I'm hoping someday maybe we can circle back. I would love to do a long series of shows on these string of Supreme Court cases that, from everything from campaign finance to corruption to corporate speech, all sorts of ways in which the Supreme Court has got democracy wrong. But now is not the time or place. Suffice it to say that for some people, yeah, the current way we do things looks hopelessly corrupt. The 2-party system seems too easily corruptible. There doesn't seem to be a way to work with these 2 parties, and they've bent the political system to their will. The 2-party system is not a constitutional part of this government. The 2 parties are private clubs. Why should they have a favored status? I'm getting off topic. The long and short is this. If looking at our current political system, you are happy with your choices and you believe that you are well represented and you have a fair chance at affecting outcomes, then you probably won't support these reforms. However, if you have a problem with money in politics, or the 2-party system, or you want third parties. I guess that's the same thing as the 2-party system. I'm getting so tired of this getting. However, if you're more inclined to believe that the current way we handle campaign finances and the current way we handle 2-party politics is corrupt, or at least has the appearance of corruption, then you're probably more likely to vote for this. But Alaska is not the only state asking its citizens to go to the polls. Next week, we're going to take a trip down south and see what they're doing down in Arkansas. We're going to see how not to certify an election. If you're voting in this election, if you're voting for Ballot Measure 2 or against Ballot Measure 2, please let us know. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. We'll be sure to tag proponents for Ballot Measure 2, as well as any opponents we can find. Whatever you do, it's important to keep your ears open and to keep listening to one another. Although we might feel strong emotions about our politics, keep thinking. So, I want to bed. See you next time. Please like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on the, I don't know if I'm going to get a TikTok, I don't know if I'm going to get other things. I have an Instagram, I think, maybe. I don't know how to get into it. I might have it. Good night.
I ain't got time to kiss you now, I'm busy with